Hi everyone. So for my vulnerable population group, I selected bullying. And the reason why I selected bullying was because it's a very important topic for me, not only as a future educator, but also as a mother. You never want to hear that a student or even your own child is being bullied, or even worse, they are a bully. So that's why I chose this topic. So let's dig in. Okay, so I read the article Eyes on Bullying and Early Childhood. And in the article, basically, it's highlighting that bullying actually starts a lot earlier than the majority of people expect. So, the majority of people think bullying is like middle school girls, where they're spreading rumors, or, like the typical bully steals your lunch money and physically hurts you, right? Those are all like in your adolescence. But what a lot of people don't realize is that bullying actually starts in early childhood, as young as preschool. Um, you can see that bullying can even happen in daycares or during preschool. So, in any early childhood or early education settings, even like elementary school. The article also highlights that in order to prevent bullying from happening, as educators, the teacher should already know what it can look like in those educational settings, especially for that age group. Because in the article, it mentions that bullying looks different in older kids than it does for younger kids, which is the age group that we're focusing on today. So if a teacher knows the difference, and mind you, the bullying in younger children in early young childhood, it's more subtle. It's not as direct. It can be, but it's just so easy to pass it up as the kids just playing and not understanding or having the social skills, right? It's easy to pass off, but that's what the article emphasizes, that it's important for the teachers to recognize it and address it in order to stop it from spreading. So it also highlights that unaddressed bullying can really impact a young child's development. So it's imperative for teachers to be prepared and knowledgeable about bullying, and how that's the first step is acknowledging it and being able to identify it happening. So my next slide, right? So when I was reading the article, I actually learned something new that I never realized, right? And it's the role that gender plays in young children and how they bully, right? The behaviors that they do. So, in the article, it discusses that boys and girls show differences in their forms of aggression and bullying related behaviors at about age 3. That's an incredibly young age. And there's already signs of bullying in kids that age, but also a difference within their gender. So, for boys, it's more common for them to have direct physical forms and verbal aggression of bullying, and issues of power and dominance. Wow. And for the boys, they demand immediate intervention, and it's really easy to detect or observe, right? Because it's so direct and like apparent. But girls, in contrast, they deliver more sophisticated and subtle indirect forms of bullying, and their patterns of bullying are associated with affiliation and exclusion. So for like the girls, I guess you could say it's more of a mental social exclusion type of bullying, versus the boys it's more I'm stronger, I'm better, let me beat you down, physical and verbal aggression form of bullying. So for the girls, they tend to manipulate relationships and tell secrets, and begin to threaten if their demands are not met. So you can kind of see the difference of the bullying between the genders of each child. And this, mind you, reminder, this is all at about age 3. So it's very sad to see that this happens. So it's important for us as educators to address these situations of bullying as soon as we detect them. So I ended up researching the state's policy. I live in Alaska, but I'm like raised Texan, so it's where I'm from. So I decided to go with Texas. And I learned a lot about my state. Actually, I didn't expect Texas to have so many collaborative policies to and anti-bullying support. Like it says, they have a prohibiting statement, they have a definition of bullying, the scope. There's no protected groups. I love how they have a district policy requirement across like all the school districts in the schools in Texas. I love that. And I love how there's consequences. And of course, they have communication of policy and the safeguard and support and review. Okay, they don't have review and update of local policies. And most importantly, my absolute favorite thing that they have is prevention education. So those are all really great things that they do, right? I wanted to highlight one specific policy, which is Education Code 21, Part B, where it says that educators are educated in positive behavior intervention and support strategies, including classroom management, district discipline policies, and the Student Code of Conduct, adapted under Chapter 37. So it's basically just requiring the teachers to become prepared and educated on the topic of bullying and the classroom management and things like that. So I think that's a very good policy that supports victims of bullying in hopes to stop it from happening, combating bullying in a sense. So that's my project. Thank you guys for watching.